Hello and welcome to For Future Generations, episode 39. It is November 1st, the day that the snap stopped turning. So let us be careful, watch yourself in public. The legendary fallout will probably not take place. Everybody's going to be fine, trust me.
Yeah.
But
more importantly, it's All Saints Day.
Yeah, it is All Saints Day. So does the color change, Sean, for All Saints Day?
I believe it is a red color.
There you
holiday.
go.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that
appropriately pinned here.
Red and gold.
Yeah. But anyway, we're glad to have you all along, and I am Jeffrey, and I'm joined as always by my wonderful friend Sean. Sean, how are you, man?
I knew you were going to ask me that. And I was like, you know what? I've listened to like some of the older episodes, and it's always, Sean, how are you? And it's like, oh, I'm doing really miserable. This awful thing happened. and then you just go, all right, on to the show. Just go into whatever. But I'm doing good.
Probably rain.
Yeah. But we never talk about how you're doing. It's just, how are you doing? Oh, a celebrity died that I liked, or whatever thing. My ball team lost.
Well, if you didn't like such losers, but baseball is one of those things where it's like you're born into it. You don't get to pick and choose.
Yeah.
But somebody's born lucky. But as far as I'm doing, this week was my 10-year anniversary. So I've been married for 10 years now. Yay. And dude, I don't know where the time went. It just kind of got away from me. And done a lot of things, gotten a lot of things done, had a lot of kids, lived in the same house the whole time, which, as an Army brat, moving every 3 or so years as a kid, and then as an adult living in the same place for a long time, it's nice to have roots. It's nice to be from somewhere, to feel like you're from somewhere. So I really, really had a very, very thankful week. Had a very good weekend. But you didn't tell me how you were doing. What celebrity died that you're crying about today?
I was just, it's just a funny thing. I guess I'm doing all right, man. I got to see customer of mine that I bought this clock from. It was broken when I bought it because it was a neon. It used to be neon. So instead of like the LED lights going in a circle like that, which I can change. That's why I change it sometimes. So I'd been out of work for a while, and I got back at it and got to see her again. That was kind of cool. Been like, hey, I got your clock up right behind me.
Mm-hmm.
So
if you ever want to see it,
I guess it was like her. I think she said it was her father's clock, and it was one of the original. Like she worked in a her dad worked in a mechanic shop, and Chevy would come and just give these to the shops as advertisement, and they would put them up because it's a clock, and so that was it was an original. It used to hang up in her dad's shop, and then the neon didn't work, so I changed it out and put the LED in, and now it works. So I'm pretty excited about that. Yeah,
and it's mildly distracting.
Yeah.
I actually like it. I think it brings a little bit of color and a little bit of movement to the background. So if one of us is getting long-winded and the audience is a little bored, they have something to kind of distract them a little bit. But anyhow, glad you're doing well, and hope that getting back to work's making you feel better emotionally, if not physically. But we were putting the show together, you and I, this afternoon. Well, we've been putting the show together the last couple days, but this afternoon somebody brought something to our attention, which kind of changed a lot of what we were going to talk about. So we're going to probably dedicate about half the show to this, because it's something that we've talked about before. Yep. So I believe it was episode 26, if I'm not mistaken, is the one where we talked about, is it really yours if you have to share? And that had a little bit to do with immigration and things along those lines. But then the second half of that was Sig Saur, killing people, straight up murdering people. A guy puts his gun down on his desk, and the hammer falls and just shoots him in the chest, and he dies. Simple as. That's what happened. Trust me, bro. Well, is that what happened? Well, here's the original article. A lot of these articles got pulled, which is annoying because it'd be nice to have a record of them. But Air Force Command pulls Sig Saur M18 after deadly shooting. So what happened is, guy says, hey, my buddy got shot in the chest. I put my gun down on the table, maybe a little forcefully. It was pointed at him in the holster. It went off. And of course, this is a safety problem. And so, a lot of people, immediately went into overdrive. Okay, we've got to get these things out of the hands of our very trustworthy and never irresponsible soldiers, because who knows when they might go off. Now, in that show, I did go over Sig Saur going off on their own in holsters that were not affiliated with the military. So this is a subsection of that. But there has been a change. There has been new information, which is airmen plead guilty to false statements in shooting that suspended Sig Saur M18 use. Pled guilty. So what was it that they pled guilty to? Well, we'll get over to that in a minute, but let's go to this article, which is from CBS. We'll go back to the ABC in a second. U.S. airman in Wyoming died after alleged shooter pointed gun at him in joking manner, officials say. This article was released today at 10 a.m. EDT. What is EDT? Is that Eastern
Daylight Time?
Eastern Daylight Time? Very strange.
Oh, it's during daylight savings, so it's
got moved around.
It's not Eastern Standard, yeah.
That might be. It goes back from, because I always thought the East Coast was EST. But anyway, point being, they pulled the gun for a month because of this statement that they said it went off accidentally, shot some people. And then the word comes out, actually, we lied. We lied. White Allen, the surname of this guy, was arrested on suspicion of involuntary manslaughter and making a false statement. He was found dead on base on the morning of October 8th. Air Force officials have not disclosed details surrounding his death. So that was probably a self-delete. I mean, accidentally kill a guy, big cover-up, lie about it, a couple months later or a month later or so, shoot yourself. Probably what happened. I'm just guessing, but that's not an official word. But what we do know is these two guys, in the ABC article, it goes into Airman Sarbjot Badisha and Matthew Rodriguez each pled guilty this week to making false official statements related to Loven's death. So White Allen is the guy who shot. Loven is the guy who got shot. These two people were called in as witnesses. And it says here, White Allen allegedly told Badisha, here's the story. Tell them I slammed my duty belt on the desk and it went off. White Allen allegedly told Rodriguez to tell emergency responders that White Allen's holster went off, according to the statement, but neither airman initially reported that information, leading investigators to believe at first that White Allen's M18 accidentally discharged, according to the statement. So, initially they didn't tell him, oh, by the way, he told me to tell you this. Obviously, because if you're lying, you don't tell the guy you're lying. But to unravel all of this, let me make this simple for you. Let me give you some pictures.
Oh, after you should hear.
That's right. It's also tiresome. Here are the pictures. So the airman on your right in the dress blues. This is an individual who was shot in the chest, died. Airman on the left, this is the man who allegedly shot the airman in the chest. And the news story, now that dude on the left has died, probably from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. I'm guessing there. That's not official. But now that the guy on the left has died, you have these two men. What were their names? Badisha and Rodriguez. Sarbjot Badisha and Matthew Rodriguez changed their story after the death of this individual to reflect the fact that, by the way, he told us to tell you that. And the outcome of that is not yet determined. We don't know if then it was a murder, an accidental. We don't even know if they were actually witnesses to what actually happened. The gun pause, of course, in late July, it was lifted. So these things went back into service about a month after they were taken out of service in June. White Allen was arrested before he was found dead. So I don't know if he was arrested, let out on bail, died in custody. A lot of this information is just very, very sparse. You can find some websites, Air and Space Forces Magazine, where they go into a little bit of detail, but still, it's very much just the facts, ma'am. No sensationalism, at least that's commendable. But all this to say, it's really, really just disappointing to see what our military has become. While I was clicking around in different articles, looking for things, I came across a picture that just kind of was what our military has become. And I don't like doing this because I don't like ragging on the military. But here's one article. Didn't have much information. An airman covered up details of fatal shooting after joking with pistol. And if that picture just doesn't sum up the Army right now, it's like, dude, I mean, physique check for one thing. Stand up straight. Wodell, Codell, whatever your name is, stand up straight. This guy here, don't know what your name is, but Four Eyes.
There is no way that is an authorized mustache. What is going on with this?
That is a pretty wild mustache, and
like it's nice. Like, I'm not saying it's like a bad mustache. Like that's a hardcore mustache, bro.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, what is this? Is this the Air Force or is this JROTC?
I don't know. 90th Security Forces.
What is going on, guys? But no, it's airmen with the 90th Security Forces Group Defenders march in the Cheyenne Frontiers Day Grand Parade in Cheyenne, Wyoming, July 19th. So, I mean, 90th Security Forces, I'm not sure what that means, but maybe they're a secondary unit. But like, guys, we used to have standards. And we did a show about Hegseth talking about the standards, and I'm glad he's bringing those back because this is unbelievable. This is disappointing. I mean, is that bracelet in regs?
I don't know. Is it a Kabbalah bracelet? Because that kind of trumps.
It's not a Kabbalah bracelet,
reg,
but anyway. So the story is. This fella then was messing around with his gun, playing with it, pointing it jokingly at his buddy's chest. Accidentally shoots him. Guy dies. Then he runs over and he tells the Mexican and the Indian, hey, cover for me. Here's the story. And the fact that this was a fraud and a farce is going to make some people say, see? And I know Sig Saur's lawyers are going to be out on the warpath. See, our gun is safe. It's perfectly safe. It was all fake. It was all a fraud. nothing wrong with our guns. Guys, the reason that fall guy was used is because it's real. All right. He would not have run into the other room and said, hey, say the gun went off on its own if those guns were not known for going off on their own. So as far as discrediting the story, I don't think this discredits the story. Sig Saur does still have some issues that they need to work out, some kinks that they need to work out with this pistol. But as far as this issue goes, I mean, we've got stupid is, stupid doing, kills his buddy, lies to cover it up, self-deletes later, and the guys come out and they say, yeah, by the way, we lied. And they got slammed for it too. And they didn't get away with it. Badisha was sentenced to 30 days in confinement and a forfeiture of $1,545, which is probably 1 month's pay. Rodriguez was sentenced to 10 days in confinement, 15 days restriction to base, and forfeiture of $500. Both also received administrative demotion. So no loss in rank. I mean, it's hard to demote an E nothing, or an E2.
Is that what it said their ranks were? I never even saw what the ranks
were. It didn't say what their ranks were, but I mean, if we're assuming that these guys are like janitors or whatnot, that he runs into the room and he's like, hey, cover for me. Mm-hmm. The janitor doesn't exactly have rank to lose, but I guess what's below the janitor? Who does he answer to now?
I don't know.
He's the assistant vice janitor.
Honestly, the guys on base that were just civilians, we were generally considered to outrank like the lower enlisted because they would treat you like garbage, and if you answered the wrong way, because they were all former NCOs or whatever, and then they blew all their money on hookers or whatever it is soldiers spent it on, and then oh man, I forgot to save up for retirement, and then became civilian contractors.
The 18-year-old stripper that they married and they're going through a divorce and now she's taking half his pay. It's like very, very unfortunate, but very, very standard behavior for a lot of these lower enlisted guys.
Very preventable also.
Yeah, got a Camaro that he can't afford the payment on, and just all sorts of nonsense. But anyway, the two reported hearing his gun go off and then seeing Loven, the victim, on the ground, according to the statement. So they seemingly were not actually witnesses to the event at all. So not great, very disappointing, but at least now you know the rest of the story.
I don't know. So one last thing on that. I don't understand why they felt the need to come clean after the guy did or did not kill himself.
I think he gave a statement admitting to the gunplay, pointing the gun at them and stuff.
Oh, okay. And that's why he killed himself?
And then he popped himself.
Oh, okay.
Or
somebody did. Or just the gun did it. Something. All we know.
His CO, slapped his gun down on his desk and boom, off it goes.
Yeah.
But and undisclosed. And that's the thing about government, especially military tribunals, investigations, and things like that, is they're not open to the public. All right. We may never know what killed that guy. He could have just had a stroke. He was under a lot of stress. He made his statement. He made a clean breast of it. I was playing around, pointed at his chest, accidentally shot him, told the guys to lie for me, and then, had a stroke and died. They asked the guys, they say, yep, that's what happened. He told us to lie for him. We did. And then they got thrown in the clink as well. So
I think I told the story on the last episode where we talked about Sig Saur, where, there was a fat kid that was in my battalion, and he was on gate guard, and one of the officers, one of the lieutenants that always had handguns instead of rifles because it's easier for them to walk around with that, and it's less inconvenient. They could wear it at the desk. And so this officer had made a bet with the fat body that if he like passed his PT test or whatever, he would let him wear his gun for a day. Like they would swap out. And so Fat Boy's on the entry control point of the fob, and obviously playing with it, and then shoots another soldier.
Oh,
like,
no.
Dude, what do you do? Why was that even? I understand you see it and you're like, oh, guys, look at this. Look how cool this is. And then, oops. So that guy had an early leave of the deployment.
Oh, this happened in Afghanistan?
Oh, yeah. That's what I was saying. Like, he was at the entry control point. Like, he was the gate guard of the fob. And then...
Yeah. Well, when I was a kid in Germany, it was weird because before 9/11, our post was not open, but there were like places where you could just walk in and out where people wouldn't see you. But if you were in a vehicle, you had to come in and there'd be a guy there to check your ID card. And if you didn't have an ID card, you'd have to, he would give you directions to the office where you're supposed to go get a permit to visit the base. And after 9/11, it was armed guards, sweeping for bombs, checking under vehicles, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's very different. But when you mentioned an armed gate guard, I wasn't thinking deployment. I was just thinking.
Oh, yeah. Like at the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the entry point. But,
what's crazy about the bases there, though, is that if you have a private firearm, like you're not allowed to keep it in your house or whatever. Like you have to give it to the armory.
Yeah.
That's so insane to me, dude.
Yeah.
I don't understand that logic.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't live there. I mean, if I could live somewhere else, I would try to, but you don't always have the option, I guess. Yeah. But anyway, update on the situation. Very bizarre. Very bizarre. Minorities minoritizing. So,
hey, if you want to do comments real quick, I need to rectify a situation that I'm dealing with on the other side of my screen.
Yeah, I will dip into comments, and let's see. Starting at the top, we have Nate Downey. He says, "Diversity is our strength?" ? Yes, diversity is our strength, and don't you ever dare doubt it. Nate, good to see you, man. Z says, what was the date of the last time we were talking about this? I think the shooter was found dead around 8th of October. So they sat on this for a while. Yeah, so we talked about it in June because that would have been, at least I think it was in June, because that would have been when when it was taken out of service.
Yeah, or, it was right after that.
Sometime. Yeah, but it was out of service for about a month. So we covered it June, July, and then August 8th is when he domed himself. And we're talking about it now. So they sat on it for about a month again. So, yeah, it's like that. They do be like that. They hold on to things. They don't share things. But glad we got this follow-up, though. Let's see. We got Anglicanon MDiv. Got the MDiv now. Congratulations.
Did you used to be Presbyterian Anon or whatever the heck you were doing with that, and then you converted and you had to change your username? Is that because I believe that was the profile pic of
I don't
know. I ran into that before. I used to go by Sean the Baptist at certain things.
Yeah.
And
now you're no longer a Baptist.
Then I had to change that. Yeah, but it was just such a clever name. Like people loved it. They'd be like, "Oh, I get it," because it's like John the Baptist. Yeah.
Yeah. Anglicanon says, "Here, bro. Here's your Air Force." Yeah. It's it do be like that, Mr. Stancil.
Mm-hmm.
It be like that. Let's see. John C. Barsoom says, "Congratulations, Jeff." Yes, thank you. I feel very fat and happy. My wife made me an apple pie, which she does this every year for my birthday and our anniversary. She always makes me an apple pie, which I'm very particular about the way I like pie. I like it minced, not sliced, but like minced apple, lots and lots of apple pie spice, like the cinnamon strong enough to burn your eyes out, and tons of butter, brown sugar. It's like it's a good way to be, man. So if I sound a little slow, it's probably because diabetes. Yeah. I'm fat and happy.
Do you have a specific kind of apple that you go for, or?
Yeah, actually. So the thing is, bitter apples, the tart green ones, make better apple pies.
Yes, Granny Smith all the way.
Yeah, because if you get a sweet apple, it just kind of it just doesn't taste very appley, right? No. You Granny need something Smith. That's sour, bitter. When I was a kid in Germany, there was a crab apple tree down the road from us, and there were apples, not very big, and they were so bitter. They were tart, sour, bitter, and we'd eat them. I loved them. I like a good sour apple, but they were, man, my mouth is watering just thinking about it. This would have been like 26 years ago that I'm remembering this, and my brain knows that flavor of those apples. But they made incredibly good apple pies. The locals hated the tree because it was a raggy, weedy tree, and there were rules in Germany about that you can't, you're not really allowed to cut down trees, especially fruit trees. They're protected. And so the locals were all upset because they wanted to get rid of this raggy, weedy tree. And meantime, the neighborhood kids, us, we'd climb up that thing and we'd eat the apples off of it in the what was it? I guess the spring or the fall. I don't remember. I don't know what apple season is, but it was warm outside.
I'd imagine the fall.
Yeah, it was still warm outside, but we were chomping down on those things. All right, let's see. Chris Hookins, good to see you, man. He says, "Evening, gentlemen. Evening, sir. Good to see you." Z says, let's try that again. An anonymous source reported seeing Beretta employee leaving the barracks as sinister music played.
Yeah,
that's correct. This is the revenge of the Italians. An anonymous source reported seeing a Beretta employee leaving the barracks as sinister music played. Yeah, no, I don't think Beretta had anything to do with this. I think this is, minorities minoritizing. But anyway, let's see.
Those aren't native Italians.
No, they're not.
Oh, okay.
Anglicanon MDiv. Yes, I was Presbyterianon. So it is the same dude.
Yeah, I thought this was the same Vegeta pick. I thought so.
Well, making the move from Presbyterian to Anglican. That's kind of like crossing the street but still going the same way, huh? But
yeah, I don't really see much of a
anywho, but hope that's going well for you, and hope that you're finding peace in that and finding joy in that. He says, and seminarianon. I did not know you when you were seminarianon, so
I
must have missed that one. But I do remember Presbyterianon. He says, I wasn't autistic enough for the Presbys.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe
I think there's maybe like 5 true Presbyterians in the entire world, and the rest of them just aren't autistic enough to reach their level.
I'm pretty sure that there are no true Presbyterians.
Yeah.
Because every Presbyterian I know has a problem with some other Presbyterian.
Yep.
So they're all always condemning each other. But hope that's working out for you, Anglicanon. And congratulations on the MDiv. Nate Downey says, Team 1689. Yeah, buddy. Let's go. We can... I'm partial to the buffet line as a Baptist, and I approach theology that way sometimes too.
I want that to catch on, by the way. calling it the buffet.
Yeah.
Buffet style theology.
Yeah, it's very Baptist, it's the buffet Baptist style, but yeah, a little piece of turkey and a little slice of grease, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But let's see. Caesar, not Rex the Third, says, "Are you German or Dutch? You're referring to me? Ethnically, I am Prussian and Lowland German, but mostly Prussian. Sean, you are."
I have like a weird so when I look at my family tree, I have a lot of people coming out of Germany into America. Like a lot of Lutherans.
Mm-hmm.
But then like 23andMe will just have I think the problem with those is I have a lot of broadly Western European. So it's like, well, you're a white guy, and we just don't know exactly which part. So like
Yeah.
I get the feeling that the vast majority of that is German in some respect, just because so many of my ancestors are like literally buried in Lutheran cemeteries because they were German. They just full German all the way through on down to probably great grandfather, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Everybody in the household, even the dog. Yeah, I mean, my family's the same way, all the way back. You follow it to my German line all the way back, and it's just like Lutherans all the way back. There was very little theological variation throughout my lineage, but yeah, it's good to be from somewhere, and it was cool growing up around the area where my family were from, even though I didn't know it at the time. But it was a fun aspect. But Caesar, not Rex the Third, again says, "I just thought Geoffroy von Scott sounded Dutch." No, the von is German and Dutch. Really, all sorts of German nations use that, but it was used in Germany as kind of a title. But the Geoffroy part that came about. I'll go ahead and give some fun insight behind the scenes kind of thing on my username. So my name is Jeffrey Scott, and I put the Von Scott on there just because I'm pretentious. And then Geoffroy, when I was a kid growing up in Germany, very little kid, we moved back when I was 10 or 11 or so. But Germans can't really say Jeffrey. They really struggle with that. It's an English name, not a German name. And one time, one of the old men in our church just started calling me Geoffroy, which is French. And where I lived, French was the most common second language. It was actually more common than English among my friends, was to speak French as the second language. And so I knew a little French as well. So after that, I just went by Geoffroy for a long time until I came back to the States, where people thought Jeffrey sounded less weird than Geoffroy, and went right back.
I had a question since we were talking about Germany. If anyone has opinions on this book that I got for free at some point, it's called A History of Modern Germany by how would you pronounce that first name? I would say Haho, but that's like my being around Mexicans a lot pronunciation.
That would be Hayo.
Hayo Holborn, something like that. I don't know.
Hayo Holborn.
I don't know. It starts. It's weird. It's broken up into weird categories, and it starts at the Reformation, and it says 1959. That is not the date that I am familiar with saying the Reformation started. So I don't know what's going on with that, but it goes all the way
to the Reformation, or is it some sort of sub-Reformation of a denomination?
I have not read it. I see that he talks about like sale of indulgences and Luther. Just looking at the
maybe 59 was the original published date or something. Very strange. Who knows?
No, like 1559. Like, why would that?
Oh, 1559. I heard 1959. Yeah, that'd be very odd.
I don't know, but I got it for free at like our library. Will have people donate.
Yeah, different people date the Reformation based on different things, and I'm not familiar enough with the timeline to really tell you which one you should do. But here's a book which I actually loved reading, which is Germania. And the reflections are going to make it really hard for you to see what's going on here. But it's this is a combination of Agricola, Germania, and Oratoria by Tacitus. And the section on Germania is just really fascinating because you have a glimpse at the Germans before they were Christians, a glimpse at the Germans before they were, civilized, at least according to Roman standards. And, it's very interesting that a lot of the social taboos that they held at the time are still social taboos today. It gets kind of into a lot of the nature versus nurture. So read that if you're German, if you're interested in German history, go to Tacitus Germania. I got this beautiful leather bound from our friends at Western Front Books.
Oh, yeah.
And you can find a link to that website in the description of this video right now. So if you like the look of that, comes highly recommended. As far as Haho, I don't know anything about him, but might be interesting.
Caesar.
And then
we did at the same time.
Caesar, again, you said you were from Germany. So my grandmother was the last German citizen in my family. Everybody else is more distantly removed. I lived in Germany because my dad was in the army. All right.
I also lived in Germany because I was in the army.
Mm-hmm. Lots of folks do.
We have a lot of people in our circles that have like really deep connections to Germany for some reason.
Yeah. It's there is a consistent theme there. Anglicanon MDiv says 23andMe selectively inserts minority into white DNA samples accidentally, especially Jewish, from what I've been told. Yeah, that was a big scandal that came out that somebody got caught admitting that they were intentionally skewing people's DNA with the stated intention of making them less ethnically,
pure.
How would you say? No. In order to sway their opinion, like to make them less ethnically
hostile.
No. Although that would be a side effect, but loyalty. Right, to affect the loyalty. Like if somebody's looking up, it's like, oh man, I'm so Scottish. They'll be like, here, have a little Inuit in there, just to kind of skew things up and make it so that well, you're not that Scottish. You're not full Scottish. But very very bizarre behavior from them. But I don't know that that's still going on. If you do a 23andMe, be aware that it has changed hands recently, and all of the companies, I believe, are owned by the same people now, and it's pretty scary. So look into that if you don't know about it. I've never done one of those tests, so I didn't do anything more than Nate Downey again says, my dad did all the family research going back through England and Scotland in the late 15th century.
Nice. Man, your dad's really old.
Yeah, I was going to say,
did all that in the 15th century?
And, some people get a late start on life, and maybe Nate's older than he's letting on too. But if you're following your family history back and you get to the 15th century, that's actually not all that far. Yeah. And that'll sound strange to somebody who hasn't done it before, but especially in Europe where there are baptism records, it goes all the way back, man. I mean,
also now there's on websites, sometimes you'll get to the 15th century and you'll hit like a vein. And what I mean by that is like somebody else has already traced it back to like Methuselah, something crazy like that, right? Like, and so you'll hit that and suddenly it goes all the way.
You're home free.
Yeah, like some king of the Picts was is an ancestor of mine.
Mm-hmm.
And so like things like that, like you can trace it all the way back to, and that was literally the first century in England.
Mm-hmm.
Like people that lived in mud bogs and all that goofiness.
Yeah. One of my ancestors, actually several of my ancestors, were the hereditary kings of the Isle of Man, which is very bizarre. A very niche little thing. And once it was kind of weaving my way through Civil War history, where did these people come from? And I have an ancestor that came from the British Isles, Britannia, which the British Isles include Ireland, by the way, just so you know. But got all the way back to there. They were Scotch-Irish. And then once you get past that, they came over to Northern Ireland from the Isle of Man, found the king of the Isle of Man, and then after that it was just boom, 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 like you said. And it went all the way into 600 BC, time of Alexander, when it kind of dead ended. It was like, I guess that's when they got writing and started writing stuff down. But wild, wild stuff where it was just, you could trace it all the way back to the time of Alexander the Great. At least through this one ancestor on my mother's side. Quite wild. And then let's see. Caesar again says 1559 is when England became Anglican. Henry left Roman Catholicism, but Mary went back. And then in 1559, Elizabeth changed back to Protestant.
I'll take your word for it, bro. I don't really have that on hand.
Yeah, I'm not good with the dates. I'm familiar with the story. I'm familiar with the history, but the numbers I don't always necessarily keep good track of. Let's see. Z Sultan says 15th century is far enough to know who you are, though. You don't need a DNA test on top of that. That's very true.
I don't know, man. I need to know if what part of the Norman invasion I fall on, and so I can
which side am I on?
I need to choose my loyalties based on that, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, before we get back at it, Calvin's commentaries. We are giving away a full set of the 500th anniversary Calvin's commentary. So it's 500th anniversary of his birth. I don't think we've even reached 500 years of him writing the commentaries, but we have that. We will be drawing for that somewhere around Christmas when we do our Christmas episode. And
the way that we'll be doing that is through our Buy Me a Coffee page, which is buymeacoffee.com/for future generations. And, you can support us at any amount. You can give us any kind of one-time donation, or you can become a reoccurring member for $5 a month or $10 a month. And if you are a reoccurring member, or if you just give us a one-time donation, any amount, any $5 amount that you give, rounding down to the nearest 5, will be put into a hat for a drawing to see who will get this Calvin commentary. And we didn't have a picture of that pulled up, but we have shown it before. It is a full hardcover set.
Yep.
And
it is the Baker 500th anniversary edition. It is a maroonish color. So if you look that up, that's enough to find the exact one.
And very lightly used. These have not been left on the floor, peed on by the dog. These have been up on a mantle.
Yeah.
Displayed.
Above my fireplace,
So,
All right.
Kept warm and dry for future generations. There you go. There you go. Oh, you know what? That reminded me.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. He said it. All right.
We're going to bag on Wilson now? Is that what we're doing?
Well, before we do, that's a little foreshadowing. But we have there were some ideas rolling around in my brain that I just wanted to kind of riff on a little bit, back and forth, especially with you, Sean, in the chat, and see what people think of these. But so this week, John posted a post John Moody, friend of the show, been on before. And he said something that was not very complicated, very simple, very terse, and yet quite profound. Nice picture of a forage here.
He always has great pictures to accompany his.
He's good at that.
Stuff. Yeah,
he does. He says you can be a bad man yet be good at masculine things, but you cannot be a good man and be bad at masculine things. Straightforward, to the point, and you understand it pretty well. A bad man can be masculine. He can have masculine virtues, but you cannot be a good man without those masculine virtues, right? And this reminded me about a conversation that we were having earlier this year where we talked about, what are the masculine virtues? And, anytime this happens, right, Sean, you always get people who are like, well, the masculine virtues. My brother did this to me this week. I was talking to him on Wednesday, I think. And I said, so what are the distinctly masculine virtues? And he says, well, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness. I said, hold on. Distinctly masculine virtues, as in these virtues are masculine. Not they aid in your masculinity, but they are masculine per se.
Yeah.
And he and I kind of hemmed and hawed back and forth a little bit, and we had some thoughts. But Sean, if I were to ask you that same question, what are the same masculine virtues? Maybe before I ask that, I'll preface it with this conversation that we had earlier in the year. A lot of people were saying, patience, kindness, stick-to-itiveness, thoroughness, things like that. And people were pointing out, wow, I must have had a really masculine grandmother. My grandma, who went to church every day of her life and had this wonderful prayer life, she must have been a really manly woman. If these are the masculine virtues, right? And so that's kind of what I want you to keep in the back of your mind is like, what are the masculine virtues that are distinctly masculine, not as opposed to feminine virtues. So things that you wouldn't share with a woman. So Sean, if you had to pull something out of the hat real quick, what would that be?
Booze and nicotine and
booze and cigars.
Yeah. Fast cars, loose women. Are those the masculine virtues? I think
that was another one of Sean Moody's posts that I saw it and I read it, enjoyed it, but I didn't pull it up. But where he's kind of berating some of the Reformed guys because they're all booze and nicotine, and he's like, yeah, but are you actually a man?
Yeah,
you've got all the accoutrements, right?
If I remember correctly, I believe the conclusion that I had come to in that episode was that the fruit of the spirit essentially manifests itself differently in men than in women. So it's not that it's different virtues per se, but that how those virtues are displayed are different. I believe that was the conclusion I came to. That's how I would say it.
And that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because patience for a woman is going to look different than for a man. Because if you're in a position of strength, patience is sometimes, the little pipsqueak beating on your chest and trying to, like with my son just an hour ago or so, where he's like really angry and he's like trying to hit me. I'm like, okay, buddy, like this doesn't hurt. Like, I can put up with this. But for a woman, patience is going to look very different.
Right.
Because she doesn't have the strength to fight back. I mean, against a baby, yes, but so I guess that's, kind of my answer.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when in this conversation I was having with my brother, essentially what we hit on, and I'll say actually what he hit on, because I'll give him full credit, was the virtue that he stuck on was valor, which, depending on how you define it, but it's like a militant desire to win, just tenacious in a fight, right? That's a fairly masculine virtue. And the one that I kind of hit on was leadership, Now, that's not to say women can never be valorous or leaders of their things. For instance, I work a day job. I go to work, and my wife leads the kids in my absence. She is in tenant in lieu of me, right? She is my lieutenant. And she is left with the tenants of my children in my absence.
Is that where the word lieutenant comes from?
That is where the word lieutenant comes from.
Oh, man, yeah. I would have never put that together. I know there was an F in there at some point in history, but I don't
yeah, so the English pronounce it lieutenant, but they spell it lieutenant because they get it from the French. But you are given, you hold tenancy of the unit in lieu of the captain. But yeah, all that to say, these things might have their place. And Sean, your observation where you talked about, these virtues work themselves out differently depending on which gender you are. Where you are will change how those virtues work themselves out in your life. But yeah, if you don't have those masculine virtues, you can't be a good man. If you do have those masculine virtues, they don't necessarily make you a good man. This last week, I reread through the Iliad, and I'm going to start the Odyssey this next week. And the Iliad is a story full of some very masculine men. Very, very masculine men, but they're not necessarily all good men. Some of them are better than others. I'd say, some of them are a lot better than a lot of others. But the morality of these men was, even the good ones, was suspect at times. Odysseus himself makes some accusations to a guy, probably knowing that they're not true, which caused the guy to be stoned to death. And he's the hero of the story. He's the hero of the whole book, and he's not necessarily a good guy.
The Iliad?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. He has a rivalry with another.
I thought Achilles was the main dude in the Iliad. Am I misremembering that?
He certainly plays large.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah. So the Iliad and the Odyssey are kind of both, depending on how you see them, but I see them as both kind of being about Odysseus. Him leaving, him coming back, his journey there and home. But the idea that you can have these masculine virtues and not be a good person, we can kind of understand that. I'm sure we all have somebody in our life like that, a grandfather, an uncle, or a cousin who's like, yeah, that dude's a manly man, but he's not a good man. Right? He's not necessarily a good person. So here's an unrelated post that John Moody also made. This is me kind of snooping through his stuff and feeding on some of the things that he's been putting out there. So when I do things like this, I like to give it a like and a share. But he says 10 things generally every man should have. Now, keep in mind, these are not necessarily things women should not have, but things that men probably should have: a Bible, a church, a will. And by that, I think he means a last will and testament.
A testament.
Not as in, not a desire or a drive,
yeah.
But
everyone has a
insurance policy. Yeah. Where there's a will, there's a way, right? A favorite martial art, a wife, a household, a firearm, a pocket knife, a good guy friend. What would you add to the list? Now, to start with, this is a good list. It's obviously not exhaustive, but these are things that guys in general should have. If you don't have a Bible, you are missing something. If you are listening to this podcast right now, friend, and you do not have a Bible, open a new tab.
Yeah.
Go on Amazon.
Fix yourself.
Buy a Bible. Have it delivered to your doorstep tomorrow. You can go to church tomorrow with a Bible right now.
I would add to this a halfway decent Bible. The reason I say it this way is that I have a ESV. I want to say it was a first edition ESV. It was like a thin line type one, so it wasn't like super fat. That Bible went around the world with me. So like to have something it's like either a leather or a faux leather or something like that, like get a decent Bible. Like don't just carry around like a paperback NIV. Like get like one good Bible that. So that's just me adding little footnotes to a Bible, because I would imagine most people have access to a Bible.
Yeah, I mean, you can get it on your phone. You can download it for free. Lots of different apps. But having a good Bible, especially something with study notes that are valuable, do your research. Get one that's nice. I like the ESV with Sproul's study notes. Really, really enjoy that. I don't know where I've put that Bible, and I've been tearing my house apart trying to find it. But also, MacArthur has a study Bible out there, and very good stuff.
The ESV study Bible is ridiculous when it comes to like charts and pictures and stuff. Like some of the diagrams of the camp layouts in the wilderness and stuff like that, like awesome. Or like like great diagrams of the temple, like what the Temple Mount looked like at different eras, and cool stuff in that one if you're into that.
Yeah, when I got my ESV study Bible, one of the things that I discovered is the third temple is already a thing. And because when shoot, and I'm blanking on his name now, but no, Herod, one of the Herods, but I forget which one. When he rebuilt the temple, right? That temple that Jesus worshipped at was not the same temple that was rebuilt by the diaspora coming back from Babylon, because that temple was renovated to the point of reconstruction. So there was a third temple already. If that temple tries to get rebuilt again, it would be a fourth temple. And for those of you who are into eschatology and crazy conspiracy theories, you'll see why that's important. But anyway,
so getting back to this, fourth blood moon.
It's going to be delayed by another 100 years. That's why the prophecy was not correct. See, there's always a reason. But as far as this list goes, I mean, I've got most of these things. I have a Bible, a church, and a will. I don't have a life insurance policy. I have property. If I were to die, my wife could figure out a way to live on without me. It would not be comfortable, but it would be doable. A favorite martial art. I thought this one was wild because, like, okay, do you mean in theory or in practice?
Yeah.
Right? It's like
that's such a John Moody thing to put in there, like, because we are like that's like half his personality.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, look at that's his profile picture right there. It's him in a judo outfit, throwing weight around, and I think that's cool. But the thing is, you should be practiced in. You should at least be familiar with how to throw hands. All right, if you did not grow up with brothers, you should hang out with some guys and just tell them, look, man, I never learned how to fight. Let's do a little bit of sparring. Just figure out how to throw hands, because you should know how. As far as a favorite martial art, I mean, I like watching martial arts. Not movies, but proper fights. And I have favorite martial arts that I have never practiced. Right? I took a little bit of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, just a few months. Nothing spectacular. Did a lot of self-taught HEMA, historical European martial arts with swords. But other than that, I learned how to fight by having an older and a younger brother, which will do it for you. If you're the middle boy, you will learn how to fight. There's just no two ways about it. But next he says a wife. Every man should have a wife. You know, there was a time when man was made and he didn't have a wife, and God saw that it was not good that man should be alone. So if you don't have a wife, you know, try and work on that. And we will mention a little bit of that later. But a pocket knife, guys, carry a tool with you. You know, have something with you to get work done, because a man who can't get work done is not masculine. You know, that is a masculine virtue, is being handy.
You know, it's a great tool for that. It in lieu of just a regular pocket knife, a Gerber. Yeah. Do people still have those? Like, I used to love that. Like, the Army issued me a Gerber. It was so useful. I would use that thing.
The one that you could flick out.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. That
give it like
that was a nice one.
Motion, and then it would come out. Yeah, I loved it.
When my dad came back from Iraq, he gave me his Gerber that was issued. He was always a Leatherman guy.
Okay.
And so he went back to wearing his Leatherman when he came back to civilian life, and I started carrying his Gerber, and I wore that thing out. I didn't know you could wear one of those out, but I did. I broke the blade. I tried to break nails that were too big for it, and just broke the thing. And I loved it. But now that I'm a man, I'm a Leatherman guy. But yeah, you should definitely have one. Silas Griffith. What martial arts would you recommend? Judo. There you go. Yeah, it's like a dog. Here's Rhett says, you know, you should have a dog. I'll give that a like. Dog is man's best friend. Dylan Grubbs, 6 out of 10. Bitcoin. Colby, the Bitcoin mining plug. He says, yeah, you should have Bitcoin. Of course. Guys, you don't need Bitcoin to be masculine. You really don't. Dude, these things come in handy.
Oh,
that is a telescoping magnet.
Yeah.
Dude, I had to buy one the other day. I was working up on top of a piece of heavy equipment, and I dropped a socket. And I looked straight down, and no kidding, the engine bay on this equipment is 6 feet deep. And I'm looking down at it, and I'm like, I can't squeeze past this engine. This big Caterpillar engine, I can't squeeze past it. And I had to get one of these that telescoped out long enough for me to get my arm down there and grab it. And I did get it, but man, a profitable skill, durable trades. Those are good things to have.
Let me see. Let me check this real quick. Make sure I have all these. The Moody list. Let me see. Okay, I have a Bible. I have a church. I believe I have a will. I need to update mine.
Yeah, I need to update mine. I just had another kid.
Put another baby in my wife.
There you
I'll
go.
have to work on that. Life insurance, I know I have. Favorite martial art is Shoshu. It is a Chinese animal style. I am a brown belt in that. Took that for years because it is not something they just give away black belts like in Taekwondo.
Or karate, yeah.
Yeah. But it is, Shoshu is my favorite martial art. I took Mantis style for whatever reason. Of all the animals, Mantis just always felt comfortable with me. A wife, occasionally. No, I do have a wife. Household. I'm interested why he used the word household.
As opposed to
a house.
Or a house.
Or a house. Yeah.
I guess what he's saying is, a household you can rent.
Yeah.
Right?
Only because he's very productive house type guy. Like he's that guy. So I wonder if he means more by that. But I do have a house.
I'm sure he does. Yeah, I'm sure he does.
And
he's not wrong.
You know what, dude? I almost, because I was, I've been burning through the James Bond novels. I almost brought my, Pistolero onto the stream. I just wanted to kind of have it and just kind of pet it. Like, I don't know. That feels like a James Bond thing to do. Just be rubbing a pistol. Pocket knife. I have them. I don't usually keep one on me though. And a good guy friend. Jeff, you're my good guy friend.
Well, I appreciate it, man.
Aw.
Yeah.
So you complete me. You make me a 10 out of 10. Look at that.
Let's see. I'm not good at the hand things. I know millennials, we always Right. Millennials, we always did it like this, and I'm seeing kids these days are doing it.
No, that's no good. This is how you
something.
do it. It's like this.
Yeah.
That's not.
But anyhow, yeah, I mean, it's a good list for starters. It's not virtues per se, but it's a good place to start. You know, these are goals that you.
How about a child?
Achieve. Yeah, a kid.
How about
a son? You know, someone to bear your name. That'd be great.
Yeah.
You know, you're not less of a man. Well, I don't know. Are you less of a man if you can't have a child? In a metaphysical sense, you are, and it's not your fault, of course. But just like, are you less of a man if you have a spinal injury and you can't walk? Well, yes, you are.
I was less of a man. Yeah,
it's like, but yeah, I mean, these are things to be sought after. Beauty is something to be pursued and cultivated, and having it is good, right? And some people are born more beautiful and some people are born less beautiful, and that's not necessarily their fault, but that still should be something pursued. Just like having children. If you are intentionally not having children, you are turning down a blessing from God. And there's no reason to do it. God is trying to bless you, and you're saying thanks, but no thanks. So yeah.
And you know what? What was the Jewish adjacent guy that was talking about kincest or whatever he was saying? Where like, oh, you're just, you know who I'm talking about? The guy that looked like the Pharisee in the fur coat thing. Do you remember?
Yeah, I mean, we've mentioned him on the show before.
I know people listening to this are like, "What are you talking about?"
I think I've shown the meme before, and I can't remember his name.
He was, you know,
Darren Doan.
There you go. Yeah, that loser. He
and
he
for
was
those
talking
who are
about.
Wondering,
there it is. Yeah, that was my idea, by the way. He posted that picture, and I'm like, bro, this dude got the Caiaphas look going on hard right now.
Yeah. And
that was the whole thing. Oh, if you want to have kids that look like you, just, you know, incest is the best. Put your little sister to the test. And I was like, no, that's not exactly what we're saying. But anyways, I bring this guy up because when you're talking about like the blessing of having a kid, like to have like a version of you, like sometimes I'll look at my son, especially, and just be like, man, I feel like I'm raising myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just be able to have
in the good and the bad, right?
Yeah.
You'll see him do something really awesome and you'll be like, man, that was just like me. And then you'll see the way he's just behaving. You're like, that's me.
Well, especially he's in the repeating stage right now. He's 2.5. And he's like, everything I say, he repeats regardless of context. So now I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have said that. I don't know. Like, you know.
Yeah. My son did that today. We're playing a game, and there is an element in the game with kind of it's not a bad word, but it's kind of a euphemistic, naughty-ish kind of word, referencing to anatomy. And he
there you go.
He used that word, and I was thinking, I don't know if I should be using that word because I don't know if I like it coming out of his mouth. But anyway, third post from him, just kind of some more thoughts. Food for thought here is, he says, a man who will not defend that which he loves is in very real concrete ways not a man at all. He has, as you see in a phrase used in older books, been unmanned. Unmanned men are a horrible sight to behold. And that's very true. You know, if you see a man who has been defeated, he's a dead man walking, right? It's that's one of the most devastating things to behold. But, you know, a man who will not defend that which he loves. And I don't know, on some level, I think a man is always willing to defend that which he loves. And in a desire or a lack of desire to defend a thing shows that he loves something else more. Either it's comfort, or it's not being yelled at, or it's, having a good job. The thing that he's willing to do shows what he loves more. And that, I think, is a good segue into our next segment, which is a post from David French.
Oh boy. Hey, there's a really interesting comment in here. Did you see that one about someone wanting us to join them or something like that? I don't know what's going on with that. If you wanted to,
I'll take a look. But yeah, we can read comments real fast before we go into this. But let's see. We got Nate Downey says magnanimous. Thank you.
I think he's saying that's a masculine virtue, is magnanimity.
Well, yeah, I think
mean,
so.
It does that. I mean, if
you're
it's
in not a position very queenly, I guess.
If you're in a position of power, that is by definition, unless you have some unnatural thing going on, that is a masculine situation to be in. Like magnanimity would be like you have the upper hand and you are, you're winning in a good way. I don't know.
Could be.
I can go for that.
Having grace. This is a paraphrase, and actually, I think it comes from the Quran, but I believe it's quoting someone else. But mercy is a kingly virtue. Having mercy is something along the lines of having mercy is the realm of kings, and it's a good thing to know. Let's see. We got Purple, by the way, says Alabama John said he wants to talk to you right now. He also streams on Rumble too. He said, come by. I don't know who that is, but I might look it up. If he's streaming right now, I don't know that I'm going to interrupt the show to go.
Let's just close down to go talk to Alabama John.
Yeah. But also, this is on Rumble, and on Rumble you can get spam, so it also could be some of that going on.
Oh yeah, there you go.
But don't know. We'll continue on. John Barsoom says, I see so much of my father and especially grandfather in my son, which is a great comfort since they have passed. Darren's perversion angers me more every time I'm reminded of it. Yeah. I mean, some people say something. I mean, if you read in history about people who had their tongues cut out and you think, wow, that's really extreme. And then you see something like that and you're like, okay, I get it. Like, you said something that was just so wildly inappropriate and so over the line. It's like, if he had his tongue cut out, that'd be okay.
Yeah.
And
we are all lesser men for having heard
you say
that came out of your mouth.
We are all now dumber for having heard you say it.
We've all lost at least one T percentage or something. I don't know.
one T iota, whatever.
Yeah.
The T in. But it's just very frustrating, infuriating, and people like that. Maybe they should know consequences. But anyway, to get to the point that we were making before, which is, a desire. A man not defending what he loves is a sign that he loves something else more. And sometimes that is comfort. Sometimes that is prestige. Sometimes it is little pats on the head. What is it that you want in life? Well, where your treasure is, there your fruit will be also. So here we have...
there your heart will be also.
That's right. There your heart will be also. Where your treasure is, there your Twitter posts will be also.
There you go.
But we have David French here. So, Sean, do you know who David French is?
Yes.
Do you want to give us a quick rundown on who is David French and why does this matter?
David French is the quintessential liberal guy who calls himself a conservative, and for that reason gets to be in a lot of magazines and stuff as the quote-unquote conservative guy. he's kind of a patsy to liberal causes, but for whatever reason, people will say, "Oh, we have, we're fair and balanced because we got conservative guy David French." He's just a talking head from. I mean, that's about what I know about him. He's just a guy that says things, and people listen to him for some reason. Does he have more official like?
Yeah, I mean, he's essentially what he is he's a Twitter reposter guy. He's got a lot of nonsense, and what his official positions? I mean, I'm sure he writes articles and gets posted in places like Christianity Today. He's a big wig according to some people, but he's not impressive as an individual. He's got 309,000 followers on Twitter, so he's well known. He's well esteemed by a lot of people, but as a person, not somebody that I'll particularly look up to. But anyway, he has this post, and it's just a lot of drivelly nonsense. So Tucker had Nick Fuentes on the show this week. If you haven't watched that, go do it. It's very interesting, and a lot of people who hate Nick Fuentes because of how extreme he is, they're going to have a rude awakening when they watch it, when they realize that a lot of people are to the right of Nick Fuentes.
I will also say that, Jeff, you are not a Fed. I just want to say that. And sometimes it's just fun to watch two Feds say that they're not.
They're not Feds.
It's like the two guys that walk into a place and they said, "Hey, do I smell like weed?" "No, man, you're good." "Do I smell like weed?" "No, you're good." But they both smell like weed. Like,
yeah,
that's
exactly. How can you know if you also smell? Right? Yeah. But anyway, so in response to this, he says, another sign of how much anti-Semitism, racism, and conspiracies are overtaking the right. Tucker and Candace now have bigger platforms than virtually everyone calling them out on the right. The fringe became the mainstream, and the mainstream is moving to the fringe. It's moving to the fridge. You're going in the locker. You're going in the crystal, guys. It's so over. But you and I would look at that and say, yeah, that's a good thing, right? David French is freaking out. And who comes along but Doug Wilson, who says, are you willing to commend those voices on the right that have been opposed to all this foolishness? Wait a minute. So David French says the fringe is becoming the mainstream is moving to the fringe, and that's a bad thing. Doug Wilson comes along and says, I'm a good boy. Pat me on the head.
Yeah. Commend me.
Commend me. Are you willing to commend those voices on the right that have been opposed to all this foolishness?
What a pick-me girl. That's exactly what Doug Wilson is. Do you know what a pick-me girl is?
Absolutely. I went to college.
Yeah. Doug Wilson is a pick-me girl to the max, dude. I have never in my life seen people, hey, I want to be part of something too. Like, he's literally just asking, can I be invited to the table, please?
Please invite me in. Please invite me in. Yeah. Please invite me in. And one of the comments on here early on was from Stephen Wolf, who just said, what are you doing? And when I looked for it, I couldn't find it. I think he has since deleted it, but it has been captured in screenshots. I thought this summed it up pretty well.
Yeah.
Please clap. Please clap. Please call me a good boy. Please call me a good boy. And then this response here I thought was just so disingenuous. Wolf says, do you want him to? And Doug Wilson says, no, I wanted the world to see that he won't. Like, okay, well, hold on. You asking for affirmation from a guy who won't give you affirmation is still ceding the moral high ground to the guy you're asking it from. So you're trying to call him a hypocrite, but all you're doing is you're making him the arbiter of what is good and right. So you've surrendered the whole game for the sake of a got you. Ha! See? You don't like me, even though I'm all those things that you say we need. You have surrendered everything that you fought for. In one sentence, you gave away everything you fought for in one sentence because you're a cuck. Right? And I know that's strong language, but remember, we're talking within the context right now of a man who will not fight for something. He has been unmanned. He has been neutered, snipped right off. That's where he is. That's what he's doing here. Oh, but see, I'm not like the other ones. I'm not like the other girls. I'm different. You know, I like basketball. I'm not like the other girls.
Yeah.
I'll let you watch football on Friday nights, not like the other girls. That's
Were you
exactly
watching high school football Friday nights? What's wrong with you?
My point is, this behavior it's exactly what you said. He's a pick-me girl.
Yeah.
And you know, he's asking for the scraps from the table from the leftists. He's saying, you know, please accept me. I want to be in your good graces. Barnard, who I'll give him a follow since I'm raising up something that he talked about on the show, and he's followed by the Daily Genevan and Jawbreaker.
Yeah.
And I forget what his handle is. Jason Dixon. I don't want to accidentally dox you, Jason. But they all follow him, so he must be a good dude. So give him a follow. But shoot, went too far. Here we go.
You got your messages open too, bud.
Oh, close that down. Y'all can't see who I'm talking to. Y'all can see, but anywho, he says, just in time for No Quarter November, Doug Wilson asked David French, of all people, for a pat on the head and you're a good boy. I don't think you're going to get it, Doug. You are a pariah to these people, no matter who you attack to your right. And Doug says, you have confused your rebuke of French with a request for an accolade from French, but they are quite different.
Quite, yes.
Yes, they're very quite different. You know, if you on the nose, this one, you know, most water doesn't taste. But this one's different. No, it's not. No, it's not. Because as I said earlier, you ceded the entire moral high ground by asking for him to commend you. You have ceded the entire moral high ground to him. You've said, no, you're right. When you look at these things, you're right. You're right. And also, let's be perfectly frank. If Doug Wilson sent that tweet out and French came out and said, you know what? You're right. Maybe I was too harsh. Let's sit down and talk about it. Do you think for 1 second that Doug Wilson and David French would not be in a video together the very next day? It absolutely would happen. Because Doug Wilson, the same guy who burns bridges on the road to White Boy Summer, is very willing to make bridges to his left. He absolutely would have David French on in a heartbeat. If David French were saying, you know what, maybe I was too harsh, let's moderate a bit. And David French would pull Doug Wilson right along to the left, just like he always would. Because Wilson is perfectly happy to go to his left. He's perfectly happy to scoot that direction, to make amends with these people, say, let's let bygones be bygones. But who won't he do that with? He won't do that with you. If you're to the right of Doug Wilson, he won't do that with you. He'll burn that bridge in public. He'll be proud of it. And then he'll go over to David French and be like, hey, did you see I burned that bridge? Don't you know? Hey, I'm the good boy. I'm doing all the things, man. I'm such a good boy. Won't you give me a pat on the head? Please, come on, man. We're all friends. Come on, man.
And look at what it is that he wants to be noted for. He like what he wants approval for is, look, I attacked guys to my right. Like, that's the most insane thing. Like, accept me, David French. I threw people in my church under the bus, or under people under the CREC. I threw them under the bus. Or I attacked Ethan Holden. Hey, David French, look at me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I went after the meme lords on Twitter that are actually inspiring people to do great things, instead of Doug Wilson, who's just like, please kiss the wall in Israel. I mean, it's just, I don't understand this behavior. He basically, like, he built his entire name off of pushing as far to the right as he could, because he didn't believe anyone could get further right than him. For whatever reason, he believed that. And so he's like, look at me, I'm all the way to the right. And then when he saw that he was being beaten at his own game, then he's like, I need a new game. And I'm a pick-me girl, so I have to be involved in this. So, actually, I hate people to my right and my left, and I'm the third wayer. So he basically
I'm the centrist. I'm the glorified centrist.
He became Tim Keller after hating that Tim Keller was using him to be Tim Keller. Like, so congratulations, Doug Wilson. That is who you've become. You are now Tim Keller.
You have become the thing you hate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Loser.
And lest anyone be confused about what it is that he's trying to be pat on the head for, here are the contents page for issue 6.3 of the Fight Laugh Feast magazine. Came out for November. Maybe it was October. Point being, these are the titles: The Dispensationalist, The Dank Right, and the Jews. Enemies Yet Beloved by Joseph Spurgeon. Dispensationalism by Tim Harmon. Anti-Semitism and Equal Weights and Measures, Doug Wilson. There you go. That's where he's staking his claim. Now, some of these, I would be interested a little bit in Joseph Spurgeon talking about enemies yet beloved, but I have a feeling I would be very, very much in disagreement with him. Rich Lusk, Luther was not a groyper.
Yeah, groypers didn't exist 500 years ago. Rich Lusk.
Groyper is the name. Groyp is the name of a frog cartoon, and groypers are people who post frog cartoons. Luther posted a lot of cartoons. If you think for an instant he would not have been a groyper were he alive today, you are wrong. All right?
Depending on how you define groyper.
Yeah.
If you mean a guy who posts frog cartoons, sure.
If you mean an anti-Semitic kid who posts frog cartoons, that would be Luther. Okay.
Didn't Luther like draw pictures of himself like farting at the Pope and stuff?
He
like...
did. He did. So yeah, yes, Luther was not a groyper, but he absolutely would have been. And then we've got Idolatry Today by Nobody, Ever-Present Apocalypticism. And that one I think would be interesting, by George Grant there. Baptizing Fatalism, sounds very interesting. Recipe for Focaccia Pizza. I'm going to give that a pass. I'm going to be real with you, folks. I'm going to give that a pass.
Focaccia Pizza, we only got 6 ovens, boss.
You got me there, Sean. Why the Jewish question is actually a Jesus question by Will Spencer.
Yeah, of course, Will Spencer.
The Holocaust is actually the crucifixion. Literally, we have replaced the crucifixion with the Holocaust. They did the meme. He's doing the meme, guys. And then the dank right of the soul. Avoid the dank right of the soul. The food fight in the Christendom cafeteria by Gabriel Huddleston. Really? You're the guy who's going to talk about that? Okay.
I don't even know who that is. Who?
Well, you're not missing anything.
Oh, okay.
But, it's like some of these would be interesting. here we go. Michael Foster. How to help men escape the vindication thirst trap. That actually sounds like helpful advice. For once, one of the articles coming out of this actually sounds helpful for young men. But just this is what Doug Wilson's all about. We get the bad rap. The young right wing men. We get the bad rap about why are you always talking about the Jews? And then this is what they publish.
Yeah,
it's all about the Jews. It's like, dude, we're not the ones who are obsessed here. We're not the ones who are obsessed with this. We just don't like that you're obsessed with it. Okay, we're not the ones who want to send $6 million to Israel, $6 billion to Israel every year. All right, that's you. We just don't like that you're doing it. That doesn't mean that we're obsessed. That means that we're rightly disgruntled.
Yep.
All right.
I wanted to say something on that Will Spencer one, where he was saying that the what do you say, like the Jewish question is actually a Jesus question.
The Jewish question is actually a Jesus question.
So obviously, I have not read this article. I have no
desire to
intentions. Yeah. But I will comment on things Will Spencer does in general. And he had blocked me on Twitter before I left, so I can say whatever I want about him because he didn't want to hear what I had to say, and I'll just say it to everyone else. The problem with what he does is he interprets Old Testament prophecies the way that modern Jews interpret Old Testament prophecies. What I mean by that is where we will say, in Isaiah, he was pierced for our transgressions, right? They would say, well, actually, that's the Jewish people that are that it's talking about. And so what you end up having is, whereas we will look at things like that, and then even the writers of the New Testament will look at those prophecies in that way, and say, well, actually, all of this is fulfilled in the true Israel, who is Jesus, right? Not the
true Israel of God.
Yeah, that not just people who are descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, but the people who are in Christ, because Christ is Israel. Christ fulfills all these prophecies. But Will Spencer will go backwards, the way that first century Jews who had converted to Christ, then they got scared and they ran back to the temple sacrifices. And he's doing the same exact thing with, we have to, they're older brothers in the faith or whatever kind of crazy thing that he's going for. Like, dude, we are 2,000 years removed from that tenuous situation already. Like 2 millennia ago that happened. Like, these people, I think I've told this story before. I had gone on a trip to Israel with guys from my college, and it was a big group of us. It was like funded by I think it was like a dispensational group or whatever, but I didn't care. I was like, well, I'm gonna go to Israel. I just really wanted to go. And so we went, and actually a Hispanic friend of mine, he was the guy that I was saying, his name is Miguel, but he insisted that people called him Miggy because nobody pronounced Miguel correctly. I know I did tell that story before.
And somehow that's going to cause fewer problems, I'm sure.
He was a cool guy. I mean, that's just a funny anecdote that I think, because every time I go to Wendy's, all the Hispanics that take my order, what's the name on the order? Sean. Oh, how do I spell that? CH, maybe there's a Y or a U in there. I'm like, okay, people, don't give me crap about not pronouncing your crazy name. So anyways, he actually was a cool dude. He had a Beatles lyric tattoo, and nobody knew what it was, but I knew what it was right away. And so we like connected on that, because it said living is easy with eyes closed. And I knew right away, I was like, that's Strawberry Fields. I knew right away. So he was a cool dude, but he of all people, it was really interesting because he wasn't like someone who put himself out in the front to speak these kind of things. But we had kind of a circle. We were waiting for something there. And he said, all these, I'm going to say it the way that I understand it. So this is probably not his exact verbiage, but he was basically saying all these Jews that were around that try to say like, oh, we're like brothers in the faith or whatever. They don't have what we have.
Right.
Like, and this is including our Jewish tour guide who is right there in the circle with us. You don't have what we have. Like, we have Christ and you have some pile of scubalon over there. Like, you have nothing compared to what we have. And like, we were all just like, yeah, why are we letting them say this to us? Like, like we weren't pushing back as much as we should have. And that's the kind of powerful thing that people need to stand up to guys like Will Spencer and be like, whatever baggage you think you're bringing in to the kingdom of God, like that's crap, dude.
Yeah, you need to cut that off.
Yeah,
because it's weighing you down.
Yeah, your hook nose, like leave that at the gate, dude. Like we don't need all that. Like we have Christ. You can have Christ with us. We're not against that, but don't try to be like, oh, but I have to check my bag also. Like, no.
But I've got all these works that I can bring with me.
Yeah. Look at all this gold that I've brought to the pearly gates so that we can pave the streets with it.
Yeah. Why'd you bring pavement?
Yeah. It's just, it annoys me to no end. And you know what? Who else did that? Doug Wilson did that when he took a 23andMe and found, many members of my family descend from Rabbi Cohn. Like, okay, great, dude. Like, nobody cares. Go be Jewish elsewhere.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think the most damning clip is where he says, my family would be much more likely to take up arms if Israel were invaded than if Vermont were.
Oh, dude, that drove me nuts.
My guy, I have never been to Vermont in my life. I have flown through New York State once. Didn't even get out of the airport. That's the closest I've ever been to New England, right? If Vermont were invaded by a foreign force, I would take up arms to go fight because I'm an American. If Israel were invaded by foreigners, I would not take up arms and go fight because I am not an Israeli. Okay? I am much more likely to fight on the side of the Christians who are being murdered in Gaza by Israelis than I'm going to go defend Satanists, the homosexual capital of the world, the abortion capital of the world is Israel, is Tel Aviv, and my tax dollars are being pulled out of my pocket at the point of a gun to my head, to steal my money, to pay for free abortion on demand in Israel. And I'm supposed to be happy about it and say, oh yeah, they're older brothers in the faith. Oh yeah, they're there are separated brethren. No, they are not. They are not brethren in any way, shape, or form. They are children of the devil. Jesus Christ himself said, you are of your father, the devil. If you were children of Abraham, you would do the works that he did. You are of your father, the devil. And they do the devil's works, and they are his children. And children of light should have no dealings with the children of darkness.
I'll give an anecdote that came to mind when you were saying that. So when I got back from Israel, we flew into New York, and I grew up hating New York for a number of different reasons. I grew up an A's fan. The early 2000s are very difficult for me. And that's just one reason to hate New York. But I just felt like it was just always pompous people. I thought that their skyline was always overrated, right? Like I was just like, I don't know, for whatever reason, I just grew up hating New York, right? But we flew in from Israel, and I was back in the United States again. But it happened to be in New York. Man, I had my headphones listening to Frank Sinatra singing about New York. Like, dude, I was in the zone. I was like, I am back. Like, I am back home. Like, if you've never been to, when I say Israel, I don't mean like the modern nation state of Israel, though that it does occupy the same land as the place where Jesus walked and conducted his earthly ministry. And
Judea.
Yeah, literally his entire earthly ministry is in this like walking distance of land. Going there, you will feel things that you're just like, dude, like this is the spot. Like I remember like eating fish from the Sea of Galilee and being like, these are like the descendants of the fish that Jesus ate. Like, it was just,
they would
like,
be
weird things like that. Sitting on the coast, we're on the, we're at, what is it called when it's like a communist? I say communist, literally like they have these communist like hotel type things.
A hostel type thing, or a commune. But
yeah, it is like a commune. We were living on one of those for a couple days. Like we stopped there and they were like serving us or whatever. But it literally, if someone has the name of that, put it in the chat. A kibbutz, is something in that?
A kibbutz is a thing.
That might be
they
what
do have in Israel.
Anyway, it's like a commune. Yeah, it's a little communist hive, but it was on the Sea of Galilee. And so we had some time and I was like on that beach, right? I'm like, this is the water Jesus walked on, right? And I was looking at I was like reading a passage about Jesus went up on a hill to pray, like right before he walked on the water. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, that has to be the hill, like right behind me. Because like literally there's no, well, it says he went on a mountain, but there are no mountains. Like just like there's no like rivers, there's like little creeks, maybe.
Yeah.
Like so it's like that. And I was like, that has to be a spot. So like you feel things when you go there. You're like, this is this is the gate Jesus walked through during the triumphal entry, or like this battle happened in this valley, and all these things, right? But to come back to America, like I knew I was home, even though I was like in the worst part of home. Like I knew I was home. Maybe Detroit would be worse, but I've never been to Detroit. But all that to say, like, I don't know where I'm going with that rant, but this whole idea of like, we have to put Israel on a pedestal. We have to treat them differently than we would treat any other antichrist is just absurd. And I think we're all tired of it. And I was thinking, you know what? I was thinking about this like all day because you said this is what we're going to talk about. And so like if I'm at work and, I can't wear like headphones or whatever. So I'm just sitting there and just stewing about all this stuff. And their whole thing was like, Doug Wilson was saying, we told you that it would get this bad. We you should applaud us because we warned you it would get this bad. But Doug Wilson doesn't even understand how far right we are going. And the more that he kicks against the goads on that, like he's just
going to get left behind.
Yeah, and he's pushing people further to the right. Honestly, like if
you don't win accolades by kissing up to David French. Yeah, that's not, the young men aren't going to look at that and go, yeah, that's the guy I want to follow. That's just not going to happen.
What? They are not scared enough. I know that their entire ministries right now, all these guys in these circles, is philo-Semitism. That is exactly what their entire ministries are built on right now. Is how can we convince how can I reach these kids for the Jews, right? Like that's their whole spiel right now. And they don't actually see how widespread this is going to go. And they don't see how far it's going to go. Like, I don't think that guys like Doug Wilson understand that once his generation is gone, like tax dollars to Israel is going to be...
It's going to stop.
This weird thing where we're like, why did we ever do that? We got no benefit from this. Why did we do this? So that they won't nuke us? Is that the is it bribe money? Is that what's going on?
Well, I mean, they've got pictures of politicians doing stuff.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, the line, when you start looking at it between all of these people, from the pedophile island all the way down, it's like when that guy didn't kill himself in his jail cell. We all knew he didn't kill himself. And the FBI immediately raided his house in New York, his house in Miami, and his island. Like, they took over, right? When Epstein didn't kill himself, they took over everything he owned and searched it all. And if you think they got their hands on anything, you're wrong. I mean, the guy worked for Mossad. All right. And he didn't start working recently. Okay. When I was a child, Monica Lewinsky was in the White House. Guess what? Monica Lewinsky and Jeffrey Epstein worked for the same people. And the reason that Monica Lewinsky went public is because Bill Clinton wasn't doing something that Israel told him he should do. And they're like, hey, we've got this blackmail on you. And he says, don't threaten me with a good time.
Yeah.
And so they released the blackmail. He's like, I did not have sex with that woman.
Yeah.
Actually, I did. But it doesn't matter now. You're still going to love me because I'm Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
And he wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
He called their bluff, right? And their bluff wasn't a bluff. They thought they were holding a full house, and they weren't, right? Deuces ain't wild. And the thing is, they're still doing that today. They are blackmailing all of your politicians in order to get what they want. They are openly doing so, and the politicians know it, and they don't care. And we are sick of it. And our generation is sick of it because we're having trouble feeding our kids. We're working dead-end, long-hour jobs to feed our kids and to not end up starving to death behind a hotel in a dumpster. And we're supposed to be sending millions and billions of dollars to Israel to pay for on-demand abortions, transsexual surgeries, homosexuality, free healthcare. We are paying for free healthcare in Israel for sodomites. Yeah, we're ticked. And you know what? We have every right to be. They are the children of Satan. They do the works that he does. It's that simple. And the children of light should have no dealings with the children of darkness. We need to separate. Now, that's not saying we need to nuke them or anything like that. But we certainly need to stop giving them money. This whole bless Israel and you will be blessed thing. The true Israel of God is the church. If we are not blessing the church, you will not be blessed. If your nation persecutes the church, you will not be blessed. And all of this blessing of the nation state of Israel that we've been doing hasn't been blessing us very much. What have we been getting? Financial collapse, societal collapse, crime through the roof. Our nation is being depopulated and replaced by foreigners. Does that look like blessing to you? Is that how God blesses his children? Because when he did it to Israel in the Old Testament, he called it a curse. Okay, when you're ruled over by foreigners, that's a curse. Anyhow, Doug Wilson, pull your head out of the sand or wherever it is that you're sticking it. This is ridiculous. Anyway, one last point, just to hammer it home, if I can find it among my litany of tabs. Where is it? Oh, here we go. So I think this summarized it well. Stories for Satoshis, responding to Doug Wilson. He says, you've confused a rebuke of French with a request for accolade from French, but they are quite different. They are different. Stories for Satoshi says, a good rebuke does not assume the leftist frame. Gentlemen, the game is a game of frame. It's a frame game. What you are doing when you ask for handouts, when you ask for pats on the head, when you ask for accolades, is you are admitting that they hold the keys to the kingdom. The reason Doug Wilson acts like he doesn't know what time it is because he doesn't know what's going on. Or he's a malicious actor, which is possible. But I'd rather hope that he just doesn't know what's going on. Because this is uncalled for. This was an unforced blunder. Okay? You don't blunder your queen and then come back and go, well, actually, I was just pointing out that he was a hypocrite.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was just pointing out that he would never do that if the roles were reversed. That doesn't make you a good person, Doug. You're being stupid. Please stop it. All right. With that said, maybe we should get back into comments. So, just an update on this.
We were up. Hold on.
Oh, hold on. That's the wrong one.
Too higher up here. There we go.
I scrolled right when I was clicking and it went wild. Where were we? All right. David French is the quintessential House conservative. Yeah, well, it's he is playing the part of, he is quite intentionally playing the part of National Review. He has built himself up to be the new Bill Buckley. And what did Bill Buckley do but stab his friends in the back? You weren't sufficiently liberal. Let me stab you in the back. Let me pave the way for Ronald Reagan, who is a centrist, who's going to have this mass appeal, who's going to do all of these great things. He's going to end the Cold War. And he's going to do all these things that in the short term have a good payoff. And in the long term, they sell your country to foreigners. He's going to move all of our manufacturing overseas. He's going to open the doors to migrants. He's going to give them citizenship. He's going to give them voting rights. All of these things for which Reagan is lauded. Just absolutely mind-numbingly stupid. They destroyed our entire country. And it took 40 years for it to happen. But it happened. And it's Reagan who did it. And it's Bill Buckley who made the way for that. And it's Doug Wilson who wants to be Bill Buckley, who wants to bring in some vaunted form of his version of Christian nationalism, which is not racist or anti-Semitic, and is just, sufficiently liberal to be accepted by people like David French. It's not going to happen. Fool me once, shame on me. Update on this thing, by the way. So Purple, by the way, says Alabama John says he wants you on right now. I looked it up. Alabama John is a sportscaster. And he's got like 900 live views, but it's just a couple guys in the living room just having a good time. It's like, okay, but that's not us.
They're probably doing like what I'm doing right now, where I'm like looking
keeping your eye on another thing
at the same time. Game 7 of the World Series is currently in the bottom of the 9th, tied up right now. So I am like doing this.
Who's playing?
It is the Blue Jays and the Dodgers. They're in Toronto.
Well, I'm hoping the Blue Jays win then.
Yes, I'm also. Yeah, I mean, it's been a great series. Toronto, man, I could talk about it. The way the game ended last night was just ridiculous. Silly.
Many such cases.
Unforced blunders.
Yeah, speaking of unforced blunders.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, here is to the comments we go. Anglicanon M. Div says David French is the quintessential House conservative. We already read that. John C. Barsoom, David French is a man who has less masculine virtues than my grandmother. Correct. Stanley Grandis says, someone said Doug is seeking the forbidden French kiss. Yep. Mm-hmm. That does seem to be what's going on. Eric Skeens, to think that Doug didn't think people could be more right-wing than him is pretty generous. To me, it seems more like he's trying to get out ahead of it and grift. There is a pattern of behavior here.
I'm not sure what you mean by that, though. Like, get out ahead of those to the right? Because it seems like he's abandoned the whole moving.
But early in his career, his shtick was, I'm the most right-wing guy.
Right.
And now he's not. Now I'm the reasonable moderate, right? I'm the plausible centrist. But he had that pattern of behavior. Like, I had a bunch of Facebook friends who were freaking out about the whole infant pedo communion thing. And so they put me onto this conference that Doug spoke at, where they had this, supposedly all these speakers talking about this issue. And Doug Wilson put himself up as kind of a leader of a revolution. And it really wasn't that way. I mean, there was no revolution to be had. There isn't really a movement there, but he made something seem like a movement, and a lot of people joined him for it. And I don't know. It is a weird pattern of behavior that he does have, of trying to get out in front of something, turn it into a movement, turn it into followers, and turn that into money. And maybe that's grifting. Maybe that's just good business sense. I'm not going to call it grifting because it's just a strategy. It's a communication strategy. Check for Tunnels. Zoltan says the 95 Theses was just an effort post. That's right.
It was.
That's right. It was, it was a limited to 95 characters. Jesse Vandermolen, laughy faces.
He was laughing at my, we only got 4 ovens, boss.
Yeah.
That literally, man, dude, every time I think about that video, I'm just like, what person was so absurd
6 million pieces?
Yeah.
We only got 4 ovens.
But they came up with that, and then they did all the animation for it.
Yeah.
And,
it's a classic. And Stanley Grandin. What? We're not going to nuke Israel? Sad face. No. The Israel is holy. It is holy land. We should not nuke it. We should drive the pagans out of it.
There you go.
We've done it before. We can do it again.
And yes, to answer. Hurt myself grabbing this. Here we go. Yes, this is a giant Rubik's Cube that my wife got me. She said, hey, put this behind. Here we go, this side. Woo! Yes.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
But Sean knows how to solve a Rubik's Cube, and I do not. So after the show one night, he was sitting there solving it, and it was kind of fun to watch. My younger brother knows how to solve a Rubik's Cube. I've always admired him, but I never took the time to figure it out. Nate Downey says, Wilson is trying to control the narrative and be the definition of the new right wing, like his recent TV interview. He's positioning himself as the limit of the right wing. That's right. He's the containment right, which is exactly what Bill Buckley was. I mean, Bill Buckley was literally a government cutout. CIA paid for him to have his show and be the right wing. So if you're modeling yourself after Bill Buckley, who was a CIA cutout to control the right wing, of course Doug Wilson wants to do that. Of course he wants to set himself up. Let's see. Sir Vilder says, hey, I made it. Barely. I mean, to be completely fair, we're about to sign off. So you barely made it. Yellow Moss says, Sean Russell just became my new best friend. Yes. All right. You can never have too many best friends.
That's right.
He says, is that Rubik's Cube a business expense?
No.
I don't think we can claim any of this on our taxes. I'm certainly not making any money off of it. I should claim all of this off my taxes. If I were smart, if I were more Jewish than I am, I would figure out a way to claim this all on my taxes.
I would too.
Yeah. Now that you think about it, it's probably not a bad idea. I should talk to my tax guy. Yellow Moth says, can solving Rubik's Cubes be counted as a manly martial art? Well, if it's the big one. If you do the big one, standing up.
Yeah.
One hand.
It's very, the big one's difficult because you can't like.
You can't set it down because then you're rotating part of it.
Yeah, you don't have as much control over it like you do with a regular size one. I have a much cooler one. I know I've shown Jeff it, but I don't have it out here.
The speed one?
No, I do have a speed one. But no, it's the one with where it's different shapes. And so,
oh yeah,
like it's all silver. Trippy, like it's not colors. It's like the shapes are different, and it looks like something out of Hellraiser when you have it all mixed up.
Or like something out of Halo that flies by and talks to you. Yeah. Sir Vilder says, maybe. You're still online, so I made it. Yeah. The one you keep in the freezer is your cooler one. Well, I mean, if you keep a Rubik's Cube in the freezer, by definition, it is your coolest one. But
Scube? I don't know if I know what a
Scube. S-Cube. I don't know it. Or Scube, maybe. One or the other. But we'll look it up. Not sure. All right. Well, with that said, want to do some final thoughts. Sean, did you have some final thoughts? Some things to throw out there for people?
The Dodgers just brought in a new pitcher. Blue Jays got runner, and they got the winning run in scoring positions, 1 out. I hope they don't blow this again. Dang it, man, it's killing me. Oh, I did have one thing I did want to add to the list of things that every man should have. An instrument. I think every man should know how to play an instrument to some extent. Learn some basic chords. It's good for you. It's good for the soul, man. There's a reason that David was that's what he's known for. That's like the first thing that you really get to know. Yeah. Like or like when Saul would get when he would get a bad spirit or something.
Yeah, an evil spirit from the Lord.
Yeah, and he would come play his lute or whatever it was that he's. I don't remember the exact. The lyre.
Stole the hearts of the daughters of Israel.
I think a lute is an English version.
Yeah. But so I play a little piano. I haven't played for a couple of years, so I'm very rusty. But I'm pretty good on harmonicas. I find those are much easier to carry around with you. Those are fun. And. But yeah, every guy should do that. And if you've got a good voice, you should practice your singing. Yeah, be able to sing. It's good for the soul. Yeah. So the name of the show, Men Don't Beg for Acceptance. One of the masculine virtues is being content where you are, being happy with what you have. And yet one of the other masculine virtues is striving for more. And it's interesting to see those in tension. Being content with what God has given you, yet seeking the blessing of God for more in your life. Those are two things that every man should have. And the way that you are content with the things that God has given you is by not sacrificing them on the altar to the left, to the Satanists in your midst. And one of the ways that you strive for more is not by giving away everything that has been fought for over the decades to your enemies. So food for thought there, folks. Men don't beg for acceptance, and you shouldn't either. All right. Well, with that said, folks, we've been going for a while now. We've been going for a little over 2 hours. It's been a little bit of a sleepier show. We got a little hot and warm a little bit, but it's late. We're tired. And you should go to bed because tomorrow is a day that God has provided for you to worship him in. I hope to see you at church. I hope to see you at the table taking communion. Receive the means of grace. Repent and believe the gospel. Ask for forgiveness of your sins. God is faithful and just to forgive you your sins, and he extends grace to all of those who seek him. But with that said, hope you have a wonderful night and farewell.